So, hi Darshil, welcome to my channel. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me over here.
Uh, so, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Hello, folks who are watching this right now. My name is Darshil. I'm an iOS developer and I'm currently working at Swiggy. So, my stream is IT. I really wanted it to be CSE. That's another story, by the way. But yeah, I'm a IT student right now and I'm in my final year. So,
Oh.
still not a graduate, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, so you are doing an internship then with Swiggy, right?
Correct.
So, how
And it's been 5 months now. And yeah, it's a pretty long internship.
how long is it for? Like what the contract? 6 months?
So yeah, the contract is for 6 months, and so they had a discussion with the college itself, and now they'll go into the process of full time, probably before the college ends as well. So yeah.
Okay. Now mine was longer. Mine was 1 year internship, so you're good there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did it start? Like in starting of the third year?
Yeah, like no. Ending of third year, like entire fourth year was internship, and then even
Okay.
after uh, completion of my college for 6 months, I was in the internship, and then got converted. So that was a long
Okay.
time. Anyway, so
Cool.
how is going? Like, how's your internship experience?
It's going pretty good. So first of all, the environment over here is still like a startup. So for those who don't know, we are a decacorn now, but the environment and the pace in which we work is still like a startup. I It's not like I'm restricted to just doing the iOS stuff. I can have a say in marketing, sales, or the communication which we have with the end users as well. So I'll just give a quick nuance into it. Like if you are on the Apple ecosystem and you go to the App Store and look at the release notes which are there for every update, I get to write those. So in any professional or like not professional would be an incorrect word, but in any organizational structure manner, if you look into it, if you go into a company, you won't be able to write content if you are into engineering. But we have that flexibility that if you have inputs, then you can definitely give them, and if they are worth it, then you have a shot at it.
Yeah, I
So yeah.
think that advantage comes with working in a startup. Like when you're working in a company like Informatica, like I am in, you are like very restricted to
Hmm.
the role that you are in. You are allowed to
Correct.
experiment with the role that you are in, but not outside that. So yeah, that's definitely a good point about startups. So
Correct.
that's about it. But one thing that actually popped out in your profile was iOS development. So generally in college, people are really into web dev or Android development if they are in app development. So what motivated you to go into iOS?
Sure. So it's a really funny story. I was not doing anything when I was in college per se. Like before the lockdown happened, I was always roaming, or like I was not very much into the curricular part of it. I was more into the co-curriculars. But then when the lockdown happened, I didn't had that chance to like look into it more. And I really wanted to do something different, which I somewhat got from my co-curricular activities that I wanted to like shine out of the batch. And to do that, I thought that if everyone is doing ML, AI, data science, or like Android, then if I start now after like 1.5 or 2 years, it will take a lot more time and effort to like get good into it. And with that in mind, I first took web development only, but it didn't like excite me enough. So I switched to iOS, and it was really fun, and like the community itself was very welcoming and supportive. So yeah, that kept me going, and I started to learn iOS.
Okay, and like, did you find any trouble finding all the resources or the community? Because as I said, I have always found this Android community. These are there very easily available, but this iOS thing, it's kind of new to me as well. Like, if I'll start now, I think I'll face a lot of difficulty. So, how difficult or easy was it for you to learn iOS?
Sure. So it was definitely difficult at the beginning, because if you look at our college as well, there are no communities for iOS there. So
Right.
all the societies which are there, they do have a wing, like a separate wing for Android development or web development, but no one is looking into iOS.
Exactly.
So there was no contacts per se who were doing it. but the internet is your best friend, and I had my laptop and the time to do it. So I got a course from Udemy, started working on it, and I just thought of completing the course initially. And after that, if I have other challenges, then I can go to the community and the Twitter community also. That was really helpful. So there was no direct support from the individuals who I already knew, but the Twitter community was really helpful.
Okay, all right. Also, there's one thing in your profile that is WWDC, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
What's that? How
Yeah.
did you get into that? So all of this happened after
Cool.
lockdown? Nothing in college?
Everything happened. Everything happened after lockdown. There was no traces of these things happening before the lockdown.
Okay, so we'll
So
come to that later.
WWDC,
We'll come to that later. What
cool,
did you
cool.
do in college?
Sure, sure. I'm really excited about that as well. So WWDC is Worldwide Developer Conference. It's an event which happens for all the iOS developers in the world every year. So we have new iOS software updates or new technology or new devices as well, which come out, right? And this is the event which basically does that for Apple. And in this particular event itself, there is one particular scholarship event which happens every year, which is called the Worldwide Student Challenge.
Okay.
Before the lockdown was there, it used so the winners got a chance to go to Cupertino for a week and attend the event as well and everything. But since it was the lockdown, we got a chance to like meet virtually, and it was a virtual conference. How I got to know about it was when I started doing the iOS dev. I was always an Apple fanboy. I had a MacBook. My first phone was an iPhone 3GS, so I always was inclined towards that ecosystem. And I knew about this conference which always takes place. And somewhere I read about that there is this competition, but at that point of time, the deadlines were already over. So I set in my mind that hey, the deadline for this year are over already, but now I have an year to work on myself and my skills. So let's just start and get going. So I started working on it, and I was just learning for that whole year. But once the challenge was announced again, I started working on my submission, and then rest is somewhat history.
Okay, and just to give you guys a heads up, he actually won there. Something you got the scholarship and something huge happened with you, right?
Correct. So basically, there are 350 students worldwide. That's it. Every year, 350 students get a chance to win this scholarship, and the hoodie which I'm wearing right now, that's a part of the prize which you get. So it's sort of a clan. So if you there are Slack channels and Twitter and Discord channels as well, where all the folks who have won this challenge. So I won't call it elitism, but there's somewhat of a close knit community which you get to be a part of if you win this. And luckily, I am a part of that now.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually a very, very good thing to build something for your own self. That's good. And coming to Swiggy, how did that happen? Was it on campus or off campus?
No, no. So it was definitely off campus. What happened was it was the season of placements, right? All my friends were getting internships or getting placed. Even I got into one internship. I don't know if you remember. So most of the folks might be knowing about this company called HRC, right?
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah. Huge thing
yeah.
it is.
So correct. I was not very much into the technical stuff at that point of time, and I was really inclined towards the marketing and sales side. So I signed up for their marketing internship, and I got selected for that. And it was my first or second day in that internship when I decided that hey, this is not what I really want to do. This will probably not work out for me. So I started looking for other internships, and from there, so like I needed something to back myself up when I
Yeah.
say that hey, I want to quit this. Like if I don't do that, that they won't accept my resignation per se for that internship. And I got one internship from Internshala. I worked there for 3 months. I got my basics in place. Then I got the GitHub externship as well. So there was another competition where I applied as an iOS developer, and I got to be a part of the GitHub externship, which was first time in India, like last year.
Okay.
And so I had my CV building up. Then what happened was I saw a particular post on LinkedIn regarding openings for iOS developers, but they were full-time roles. So they had opening for SD 1, 2, and 3, but there was no internship role per se. But I really wanted to like be a part of Swiggy. So what I did was I just sent a message to the particular individual, Agam Mahajan, who is my manager now, that hey, I am this is my resume, and this is so I have 1 year of experience, and I would like to have a SD1 role. So I'm still in my third year, and I'm saying, ki, hey, just give me the SD1 role. So he was obviously like, hey, this is not happening, but your resume looks good, and we can give you an internship if possible. So I was like, sure. I just wanted to have that confirmation that hey, like you can be a part of us. So then the interview rounds happened, and then I got in.
Okay, so basically you got the job from LinkedIn. So like
Correct.
okay, so like, was this the first company that you applied for, or you were trying to get into something and then finally this happened?
So this was the second company which I applied for. In total, I have applied for three companies. So
All through
a
LinkedIn?
huge um, not directly. One was through Slack, and two or through Slack. There is a group of iOS developers on Slack where people post regarding openings. So it's a community of iOS developers only, and this only was through LinkedIn. So the first internship I applied for was Cred. Like I'm a big fan of Kunal Shah. Um, he was like the constant source of motivation which I had during the lockdown to like work on myself and like have that inclination towards startup. Like I really want to work with him one day if possible. I don't know if that can happen or not. But Cred was my first gig, like first place where I applied. I cleared till the third round, but after that, I was not able to like go through. And they were also looking for full-time employees at that point of time. The second one was Swiggy, but they took a bit of time to like reach back to me because I had a word with Agam only that why did it take so long? Once I was in like the organization, I had a word with him that why did it take so long? So it was like before this, we were like mostly looking from BITS or IIT or like the on-campus gigs which we have for internships as well. So they had to make some changes to the process as well, which took
Okay.
some time. And in that time which it took, I was like, hey, this might not happen. So let's just look for something else. And then I applied for Paytm. I went through the two rounds of Paytm, but when the third round interview was going to take place, I already knew that I am in Swiggy.
Okay.
So what I did was I went to the interview, and like before the interview started, I like told the interviewer that hey, I'm already here, and like if I go through the interview process and like try to make it here as well, then I'm just basically wasting your time and resources as well. So yeah, these were the three gigs which I had applied for.
Okay, so you were not interested in campus placements at all since day one.
So I was looking at all the forms which were coming up, but they were generally for a generic role.
Right.
And I had a word with a lot of my friends. Like the thing is, if you are applying for an SD role, they can make you work on any stack. And I
Exactly.
like being an iOS developer. That is sort of my identity that I like doing iOS. So I was not very flexible with leaving this. And since there were no opportunities in
Hmm.
terms of iOS, so I was like, this is not worth applying. So I didn't apply for any
Y-
particular
y-
role or
Okay,
job.
exactly. Actually, I think what worked for you was the clarity that you had, what kind of role you want to get into.
Hmm.
Because generally, people in their fourth year, final years, they don't have that kind of clarity. They're ready to go into anything, and maybe
Hmm.
that's clarity is has what helped you to get into off-campus placements. But I really want to know, like, do you have any steps that you can follow, anything to get into off-campus placements?
Sure. So I think a huge part of off-campus placement is your personality. Like, I don't know if a lot of people with will agree on this, but I think personality plays a huge part, because if you are on campus, then even if you stand out slightly from the rest of the folks, you have a chance at like making it through. But if you're going off campus, then they'll really look if this particular individual is actually passionate about what he's doing or not. So I think you need to like really be passionate about what you're doing. If you are not someone, if you're not someone who is really passionate about the work which they want to get into, then it will be somewhat difficult to land an off-campus gig.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, actually, I guess what you're trying to say is when you're in on-campus placement, you have that shield, that shed of the college.
Hmm.
But when you are in
Correct.
off-campus, you're all on your own. It's your personality, your work that you have done, and your passion towards the kind of thing that you want to get into.
Also, there are some things which I would like to add. Like, if you look at the off-campus placement processes, then they look for people who are like consistent, I guess. So when I was applying for internships, like all the internship, there was one thing in common, that they all had a conversation with me regarding my GitHub. I had this habit that for a really long time, I used to commit something or the other every day. Like, I had set this goal in my mind that hey, I'll learn something new every day, and I'll try to implement it in my own way. And so my longest streak was like more than a year. I got sort of got a hang of that green heat map on my GitHub, and that kept me going. So all the places where I applied, they always were really like fascinated by that fact. And they, so what you want to like do if you're applying for off campus is you want the person who is interviewing you or who might select you for an interview to be intrigued by your resume or your like profile.
Right.
And to do that, you need to either be consistent or do something which is not every like something which
Really
is
out of
not
the
very
box.
common. Yeah,
It,
something which is really out of the box. Correct.
yeah, okay, that's really a cool advice, and I do believe in consistency as well, because that
Hmm.
really takes you a long way. Also, you said that you were committing every day something or the other. So
Hmm.
what was it? Was it related to some project, or like what kind of things you were putting up in GitHub? Because I'm not very familiar with what happens in GitHub.
Sure. So mostly GitHub is about open source, but if I'll be completely honest, I was not using GitHub as an open source tool. I was like using it as a journal. I can be quite lazy at times, and I didn't want to like stop working. So uh, the heat map which is there on GitHub, that can be a really huge and like beneficial tracker for you. If you commit anything, there's a green dot on that heat map. And I currently have 69 repositories on my GitHub. So what happens is I started with like committing the repositories which I had worked on earlier. Like every day I used to commit them. And once I like committed all of them, then I had to actually start thinking that, hey, now all the repositories are there. I need to learn something new and then commit. So say, for example, I learn about a new SDK or a new framework which is related to Swift. I like tried to implement it in one of my repositories, and if it is something really different, then I made a new project as well and then committed it. So yeah, that's what I did for a really long time.
Okay, okay, cool. And another question that just popped when you said that your managers were looking for people from BITS and all those huge brand colleges.
Hmm.
So, how do you think, how much your college mattered in that process, and also the CGPA? Did it matter, or it was not at all important? What do you have to say about that?
So during like the whole process of the interviews or like anything at all, there was no mention of my GPA per se. So I don't think it played a huge factor. Like I had a good GPA, they might have had a look at it as well, but I don't think GPA plays a huge role because the conversation revolved around my development and my passion towards iOS development. So that was really the center point of it. And I mean, yeah. So after I got through, and the work which I did was like liked by the manager and the team as well. So we now have two other interns as well who are working in the team. So both of them are also not from Bits or IT. One is from SRM and the other one is from BIT. So yeah, if you are good at what you're doing, then there are no barriers per se.
Okay, so again, the same point. It's about the work, your passion towards your work, and I think this I read also somewhere. If you don't have a lot of things on your resume, then the conversation will be driven by the interviewer. But as Darshil is saying, he had a lot of things. He drove the interview. He had the power because the discussion was all around what he did. So that's again a
Correct.
really important point to keep in mind. But one thing we left for the end was what you did in college. You said that you were not into studies and all. So what did you do? And did that thing help you in any way?
Uh, I think it really helped. So I was not very much into development per se. Like I was not learning anything new. I was an attentive kid in classes. I even scored a 10 GPA in my first semester, so I had that scholarship as well. But it was always related to the studies which were there, and not anything after that. So once I was off the classes, then I was just like in the co-curricular things which I was involved in. But it really helped me. So I guess I always wanted that attention. I don't know if it's a healthy habit, but I was always looking for that validation or attention. So like even when the college started, there was the induction seminar which took place, and there were like around 1,800 or 2,000 folks sitting in an auditorium. What I did was I went through the stage and started talking. Like obviously I didn't just run through the stage. I asked for a permission and then got the chance to speak. And all the folks were really astonished by the fact that, hey, this is the first day in college, and why are you speaking in front of 2K strangers? But I was like, I have this chance, so why not use it?
Sorry to cut you there, but
Haha.
it's not why is this person speaking. It's more about how is this person speaking. How does he have the courage to go and speak in front of 2K people? That I think that's the question that people must be wondering about. Anyway, go ahead.
Probably. Yeah. So, like, apart from that, I was part of the theatrical society in KIT as well, like KFS, if you might know.
Yeah.
And there I used to do theaters where I was basically, I was the narrator of the whole theater. And that was a really huge portion of my college life. I was also a part of NSS where I even got a chance to be the PR. And apart from that, I was very much inclined towards photography. So I started doing freelancing gig, and I even covered some like New Year events and some other gigs as well. So yeah, I was into a lot of things, and none of it was studies like per se.
Yeah, but still, you got into something good. You are doing work wise also good in your life. So it's okay because a lot of kids are very much concerned about what they're going to do. They have to study for their entire 3 to 4 years to get into something nice.
Yeah, so there's just one point. I think it's equally important to be involved in co-curricular because if I'll be completely honest again, I think I have used the word completely honest a lot of time, but I think that's very important because this might seem unreal. That I am pretty sure that there are much better iOS devs or like developers out there who do much better than me. I'm pretty sure about that fact. But the thing which I think helped me is I like to be a storyteller at times, and people are looking for folks who can talk about their journey or talk about what they are doing. And if you are into co-curriculars, then you get that chance and you start to take your life as a story as well. So it really helps, and I'll definitely recommend to all the folks out there that give it a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what I keep talking about, especially after I've gotten into the industry, that your hard skills are important, but soft skills can, overpower that as well, because the way you portray your work is really important, is as important as you how you do your work. And as the famous Harry Potter dialogue goes, it's not your abilities that define you, it's your choices. So I really, really live by that quote. It's actually how you, what you choose to do with all the talent or abilities that you have. So that's really
True.
cool. Yeah. So it was great talking to you, Darshil. I hope a lot of people got inspired and motivated with your journey.
Thank you so much.